Welcome back my friends, to another episode of Re-Monster, but first of all, in the last episode we saw that Goburou's twin girlfriends were pregnant with his childs and because they are humans, ogre childs were developing too fast and were chipping on the nutrition of the twins, so to save them, Goburou gave them his own meat for nutrition, and in just a few hours, Goburou had to perform surgery because the childs were ogre and can't be born through normal delivery, but in the end childs were born safely, so Goburou goes out to hunt monster and saw a boss-class monster. But the antelope didn't fight Goburou and just left leaving his horns behind, so Goburou gave some of it to his childs and ate some himself. With it he got 2 new skills and with enough experience he evolved into Epic Awakening, after which he continued his journey and on the way his other 2 girlfriends got pregnant. This time it was Alchemist Selpine and Blacksmith Emery, but this time they knew what to do, and as a result, they safely gave birth to their children. Emery gave birth to a high orc, which Goburou named Oniwaka, and Spinel gave birth to a human baby girl, which Goburou named Nicola. Both mothers were in good condition this time, so they resumed their journeys and were now near the capital, but they stopped in a nearby town where Princess changed her appearance to hide her identity, and in the meantime, Goburou told all the mothers to take rest while he gathers info from the guild. So Redhead and Lords goes along with Goburou to the guild and everyone there showed interest to fight with Goburou since he looked strong, but Goburou instead told them to fight these 3 lords and winner would get 5 silver plates as prize. That's one heck of motivation and the fight broke out. Then after long fight 3 lords won against everyone and they were happy that they are getting stronger. Then Goburou took Dami and Redhead out for shopping and Goburou saw a camera in the market. So he quickly bought the thing and got back home to take pictures of children's, but at night he got the feelings that he might face an enemy when he reaches the capital with Princess, which reminds him that he hasn't contacted other groups with this childbirth ruckus. So first he contacts Blood Sato and she told him everything's normal on her side. Hobji even used high elves as baits to lure in bandits and criminals to cover up their traveling expenses, so Goburou contacts the second group of Dodome. She said she was just scanning the area to get information, so Goburou told her not to overwork herself and take breaks while working. Then the third group was all newbies so they didn't have a leader so they were discussing whom to choose for leading them. Other new recruits were stronger, but Goburou chose Hobrin to lead them. So now all that's left is Gubkichi, but the ear cuff showed Goburou his death while thinking of Gubkichi. So the next day Goburou asked Princess that he wants to first visit the maze city of Griphose before going to capital. Redhead Lord thinks Goburou just had a foresight dream that he saw his death, that's why he wants to have a detour to meet Gubkichi. It takes only 2 days to get there, and because they're moving ahead of schedule, Princess agreed, so on the way, Goburou was spending some father time with the kids, and they've already started walking, but Nicola has yet to even open her eyes. So Spinel said her kid is a human, which is why it would take a year for her to take her first step, but Dami was sitting outside because she was sad. She kept looking at her pendant which Goburou had gifted her when they were only goblins. Goburou knew this, and Dami felt that so much had happened in these 4 months. They evolved, fought humans, and Goburou is still evolving and getting stronger, yet she is just where she was, a damper. But what's really bothering her is that despite making so much love, she's yet to get pregnant, so Goburou consoles her that even if she doesn't shave a kid, his feelings for her won't change, which was comforting but also saddening. Then, they arrived in the city of Griphose to meet Gubkichi, and there Goburou knew he must be in the dungeon, but there some humans came out scared because they saw 2 huge monsters in there, so Goburou gets to tell this to the governor that 2 huge monsters went in there was his friends. But Governor had mistook them for boss monsters and had sent party of 3 to kill them. Well, they weren't wrong. Gubkichi's new evolution does look like he's a monster, and Irtha has also evolved. But they did not kill those who came after them and brought them back. But that aside, Goburou asked them about his death. So Gubkichi told him that the last boss of this dungeon was a shapeshifter who turns into the opponent's rival, so it becomes Goburou when he fought and Gubkichi was near death. Then he evolved and killed the boss, so that's what Goburou saw, so that was just a false alarm. But now Gubkichi wants to fight the Real party, and since both have evolved, they immediately found a place to have a match. And Gubkichi said he wants to get on equal footing as Goburou to become his true friend, for that he wants to defeat him at least once. His confession touched Goburou's heart, and there they got into the fight. and Gubkichi was showing his new flame control ability with his axe, and not just that, he had gotten faster as well with lightning skill. Gubkichi new blessing gave him both fire and lighting control skills, and Goburou can cancel out lightning but not fire, so he admits Gubkichi has surpassed him in fire control at least, but Goburou won't back down and warned Gubkichi to stay sharp of his surroundings. All this time being a teacher, Goburou got the tendency to teach others, but Goburou thought Gubkichi couldn't see his back, so he attacks from back. But Gubkichi cancelled out his attacks and pushed Goburou to a corner with his shield, so Goburou amplified his powers to throw off Gubkichi midway, then he used his spears to attack non-stop in a rhythm, but Gubkichi used explosion to break out of it, but in mid-air he couldn't defend himself, so Goburou attacks again, but Gubkichi used his shield to cover himself, and he got lost in his feelings and used a bit too much of his powers, so Goburou got pissed because there were innocent people here. Not to mention his family and his kids. So Goburou showed him the real power and sends Gubkichi flying out like a bird. And sadly, episode ends right here, but to watch the next episode, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, and if you haven't seen the previous episodes of the anime, then I made a playlist of this anime, playlist link in the description where you could watch it, so watch all the previous episodes to understand the storyline. Until then, take care.